Malfurion, one of those two supports, with Sergeant Hammer and Gazlo. And you just toss turrets around Sergeant Hammer. She controls space like crazy. You have a support that can save you with Roots from Malfurion, and you get the Innovate to just get more turrets left and right. And then we grab the level 4 talent, you just build Turret City around Sergeant Hammer, and she's literally the mayor of Turret City. It's incredible.
And production comes in and it's like, wrong.
You wanted me to fill time. That's what you get, Josh. Gazlo, Abathur, Morales, Josh says, is the way to play if you really want to go that
Okay,
route.
Josh, that didn't make things better. When you said that it's wrong, I actually thought that you were on Insane City together with me and not in Crazy Town over there.
Usually I enjoy what Josh has to say, but that one, I'm not feeling the Abathur Gazlo. That's a stretch. That's like a level 20. Can we go to a tweet or something?
Josh, can you please stop talking? I have to deal with him all day long. I don't need two of you.
Is this what you have to deal with? Like, I'm hearing Josh right now, and I'm like, wait a minute. Is that
yeah, that's you, exactly. That's our dynamic.
Dang. I don't like that. I think the biggest improvement for Dig is their attitude. The focus and motivation to be the best they can be is unrivaled.
Quick talk about that. I really like that tweet because it also, I can talk about something else. There's teams in the past that every time they went up against a weaker opponent, they were throwing out picks they would never go for, other things, and Dig is taking this extremely serious. They're showing that they know Leftovers haven't won a map yet, but instead of going in and all of a sudden picking weird comps every single time or throwing a last pick out that is completely out of meta, they show Leftovers the respect and they play with full strength against them.
Yeah.
And that is only, first of all, it shows respect, and second of all, it also gives Leftovers more a chance to actually take something from this series than the other way around. So I really like that a lot. I wouldn't blame Dignitas if they would try to play something a little bit more funky on one of the maps, but I really like that they didn't go into this series with this thought process, hey, we're going to beat them anyways, we can do whatever we want here, that they actually say, okay, we come out swinging and we play the best game we can right now.
Yeah, and we're not like hitting in the other direction of picking a different hero or a different composition that might be slightly weaker against a weaker opponent, because there is merit to that as well. Okay, if you pick up a composition that usually isn't the tier A, if you will, you're putting yourself in a spot to where you don't give too much to other opponents that you will face in the future. But Dignitas is playing a different way, and we respect both attempts, as they'll be doing their best to ban out the Tracer and Genji. So again, continuing down the trend of keeping those mobile heroes away and unpickable. Yeah,
Tracer has been picked by Leftovers twice in the past, and I think it's one of the reasonings that Dignitas has. It's a hero that can be a massive game changer. Leftovers have played her, and I feel they believe as long as Leftovers stays in that Rhaegar Greymane corner, they will be a team that they can beat.
Do we go straight into Hanzo here? There it is.
I was actually doubting it. With Dignitas, I would have said yes immediately, but with Leftovers, I wasn't quite sure, since they had such a huge priority on Greymane the entire time that I wasn't quite convinced that they would go into Hanzo. I was for a moment really worried that they would again start to do the same thing. So now we have them with Hanzo, and that might change things up for them enough.
Dignitas, I'm wondering if we're going to get that Dehaka that we're used to on Sky Temple in the early rotations. There it is, and we get a Greymane. I was wondering if we're going to get Dehaka support. We've seen that in the past from Dig, but they decided to grab the Greymane, which you need for pressure on that backside for Hanzo.
Right now, I feel, given the way they played and drafted, it's likely that they're going to look at Uther for the support. They played Malfurion 7 times. We have seen them with Uther. Let me double check that real quickly. They played 4 times with Uther. So with Greymane, I think they're going to run the combo here if they can, depending on the bans, obviously. But now we have Tyrael again, and we have Arthas. I like Tyrael for... I mean, Tyrael was always amazing on Sky Temple.
Yeah.
That didn't change. But now Tyrael got even stronger. So that's something that they can definitely use. Question for me is still, what is going to be the second damage for them? And also, I don't mind if they go Rhaegar with this, but I at least really like that they went late with Rhaegar for that. And if Dignitas actually bans out Uther and doesn't go for the Uther Greymane combo, that already highlights pretty convincingly that they want to play Malfurion themselves.
They're hovering it and thinking about it. What's also wise about the Tyrael pickup here from Leftovers is just keeping it away from Dignitas. We've talked about the Greymane mixed up with the Tyrael. And of course with the Sky Temple attributes that he brings. Yeah. It's great to pick him up. So that was actually a really good reactionary draft here from Leftovers, taking that Tyrael as soon as they could. Nova is being highlighted. Dignitas did see the Nova game last week on Volskaya Foundry.
Yeah.
It was enabled by Hanzo. Remember, the Dragon's Arrow into Precision Strike.
Yeah.
So that's why they're thinking about that possible ban, thinking, are we scared of this at all? But they wind up going with the Uther.
Uther banned? Leftovers is an interesting spot now. They can't really ban Malfurion, because if they do, Dignitas is going to take Rhaegar. And what is Leftovers going to do then?
Lucio?
That's the question. Could they do Lucio here? As I said before, they have shown an unhealthy affinity for Rhaegar. Again, I love Rhaegar. It's just, if you pick him all the time, at some point it becomes a bit weird. So I'm not sure if they could simply switch over into Lucio and have a good game with it, even though for other teams he would fit, because they haven't even played Lucio yet.
I just like the word unhealthy. Like they're losing nutritional value every time they draft him.
I mean, come on. If you go into Rhaegar that often and you prioritize him as much as they did, that it starts to become...
If you love something, let it go. Let go of the Rhaegar leftovers. You don't need it. You don't need him. There are other supports. You'll be fine.
Yeah, whatever. I give up. You got me.
Third and fourth pickup coming up soon here for Dignitas. Gonna need a main tank. I was really wanting the Tyrael for Dignitas, but now they'll have to slot to something else due to Leftovers picking it up instead. Do we see the main tank ablaze again? Good for wave clear, good control.
Yes,
there it is. And we get Abby.
Blaze and Abathur. Third time that Abathur is played in Europe. And Blaze also getting more and more love.
Getting more popular, man. People are loving the Firebat.
He's 5-3. Played now for the 10th time. 9th. All right, Leftovers. We need the damage. Dignitas was a bit worried about Nova. I'm not sure if we could get Nova here, but Leftovers were the team that played her. And I would not mind if they pull off something a bit too crazy. But if you go Nova here, I would immediately want Judgment, and this is just not a map where Judgment is so good, because I still want around the boss, I want to see them with Sanctification. It's just too much of a tool on the map to give it up.
That's why Dignitas' picks are actually really good here. They give them the ability to wait for their fifth pick. In case we did see the Nova, that would mean that they're going for the Judgment, Dragon's Arrow into Precision Strike, which means they can pick up a fifth support that has a cleanse. So good reaction there by Team Dignitas to leave that open-ended.
I would wait for Malfurion here. I'm actually surprised it's not a snap pick. What else could they choose? Lucio, as you said, is still up. Could take it with this, but I would expect them to go into Malf again. Again, Dignitas has only shown 2 supports so far. They've shown Uther and they've shown Malfurion. Now we know obviously that especially Zelia can play a mean Lucio. He's shown that at GCWC, but they haven't used it yet in HGC Europe 2018.
What are those supports? Just to rack our brain. We're expecting the Malfurion. Brightwing, would she be too crazy here?
Why would you need Brightwing? You have Dehaka, you have Abathur already. It's 2 globals. Unless you really want to just show up on lane with 3 heroes all of a sudden, I wouldn't say you need a Karazim. Okay.
Well, Zeratil's a great support. he supports by killing the opposing team, so therefore you don't need heals. So we just went through this whole spiel of Dignitas is here to try hard, and they're showing respect to their opponents, etc., etc., etc.
No, I said I wouldn't blame them if they did at some point.
Yeah.
I just liked how they started. Keep in mind, this is map 3.
I just like it that the moment we speak about it, we get the cool, interesting draft.
Oh no, if you do it, you do it in the 3rd map, I would say. But yeah. I like that so far they came in with that. And right now, I mean, to be honest, you have Abathur.
Mm-hmm. You can go Carapace build.
Blaze has some self-sustains, so does Dehaka. So the 2 frontliners are already in the spot where, yes, supports are always great, but in this case, the 2 frontliners already have some sort of self-sustain. You have Greymane, who's probably going to have the roughest time, so he needs to be careful. And what they are going to try and do is just show up from the get-go on the map everywhere with Zeratul, Abathur, and just get kill after kill after kill after kill and run away with experience so that it doesn't even matter. The problem is that once you fall, if Dignitas falls behind with this draft and not having a support here, they are going to have a very, very tough time to come back into this. But the idea is, with this setup, to dominate from the get-go, similar to what they did on Towers. And if you do that, then it doesn't really matter.
And then post 10, you have double Zeratul to get Hanzo or Li Ming. You kill one of those, you're in a great spot. Let's find out if this is going to pay off for Dignitas. We go into game number 3. Sky Temple, Leftovers still looking for their first win of the phase, while Dignitas want to clear it out and remain undefeated.
Game number 3, and we are heading into a match where Team Dignitas has forgot to draft something, and it's called a support. We have Zelia on Abathar basically playing the pseudo-support here for them. Wooby on Dehaka, Poik on Greymane, Snitch on Zeratul, and JPL on Blaze.
On the right side, in the red, the Leftovers. Linked playing Rhaegar, DAB on Li Ming, Blecky playing the Hanzo, Lobber on Arthas, and Podibus is your Tyrael.
Yeah, so right now, 4 Leftovers, as we just said, it's really crucial that you don't fall behind too far in the early game. The supports are going to become more and more important towards the later stages here in particular. And in the early game, Dignitas' idea is going to be to show up with Greymane and Abathar, Zeratul and Abathar on lanes and get kills. Just try and make sure that you push Leftovers and that you get a lead. If Dignitas can pull this off, the lack of a full support is definitely going to work out. Keep in mind, they don't play without any support assistance whatsoever. They still have Abathar, who with a shield build can at least deliver some assistance, and we have seen that in the past, having a huge impact when he's played in addition to a full support. But of course, Dignitas is playing a game where they need to be aggressive, and they're already trying.
Wubby moves forward, works in the auto attacks. Look how he's not even freaking out too hard about the drag. Gets the extra damage in, knowing that Li Ming has a couple of seconds before she can teleport again. Wubby helps secure a kill.
Yeah, and that's the first kill that they have. And this is exactly what we're going to see from Dignitas in the early game. And if it works out, then it doesn't matter that they don't have a full support here, because their aggression is going to give them the lead that they can translate into an advantage that will always put the Leftovers on the back foot and at a disadvantageous situation. So we're going to see a lot of these quick rotations on the map with Abathar head trying to kill someone.
I'm just waiting for the Reddit thread after Dignitas wins this game saying, Blizzard, you have nerf supports too much. Dig doesn't run them anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see it happening. We laugh, but... Oh, in the middle. Big engage on Lobber.
Yeah,
and he's down.
Yeah, Dig is showing this aggression. So, again, this is going to be the MO. Rotate, be quick, engage with the Haka and a drag if you have to, or at least force the target to move into an awkward position. Jet propulsion on Blaze, use that to your advantage, slow them down with Zeratul and then get the kills. And so far they got the kills. In experience it's still fairly even, but of course we are going to see a bit of a pressure play here down at the bottom of the map since Rhaegar is very much alone, but there's Blakidney and he's taken out by Wooby and Snitch. So this is the 3rd kill for Dignitas. They are, as expected, in the driver's seat.
Yeah, this is actually pretty standard when you're facing off against a non-support competition. They have a lot of damage, and they're great until about a level 10. So you need to make sure that you're stopping the bleeding as much as you can in the early game. And so far, the Leftovers are doing a poor job of stopping that. There, Hanzo, even though he knew there was 2 above them, a little bit too far away from turrets with his low health bar. Needs to be a bit more careful here and just get to that 10 as safely as possible while also working in a couple of camps when you can.
Yeah, so when we're talking about support play or compositions with support against compositions without a support, there is of course a trade-off. You trade sustain and healing over to more damage. So the longer the fight lasts later on, the more poke exists around Hanzo and Li Ming, the worse Dignitas is off when they try and engage into one of these fights. But in the early game, the non-support comp is extremely strong and can get the kills. That's when you try to take your lead. And then later on, you have to make very decisive decisions on the map as well to get quick kills, because if you play a poke game with your opponent and you don't have a support in your setup, you are very likely to lose out. But keep again in mind that we are also having Abathar here, so they still have some kind of sustain for themselves, especially thanks to the level 1 talent, the regenerative microbes, which at least gives you some heal on the shield.
Yeah, that'll be great for the Zeratul who goes in for the poke. And speaking of Zeratul, another pick in the middle as Dehaka secures the last hit on the Hanzo. Gonna be the Temple in the middle being grabbed while Abathar is body soaking on the bottom and pushing in, giving Dignitas an experienced lead. Linked may be in trouble as well. Poik going for the chase. Can he get in there? Deciding against it. Snitch!
Wow!
Almost had it, but Linked says calculated and runs away.
Yeah, very, very calculated setup here by Linked. I mean, just shows the kind of player he is. He's a rocket scientist, by the way. Moves away with 1 hit point, maybe less, and survives for now. But still 4 kills against 0. And just look at that experience lead that Dignitas has. Also, not only through those kills, it's the globals again. Dehaka at the bot lane is getting massive value for the team.
Dehaka and Abathar both. The 9 to 7 3/4. Leftovers behind. And look at the map. They are playing so close to turrets and forts now, knowing that 10's right around the corner. Can't afford to give up too much more. They bring multiple members in to work on the Giants, but Dignitas, they have sniffed them out. They walk in, decide, all right, Giants been giving up, we'll back up.
Yeah, Dignitas was a bit too late in this instance. JPL is actually getting attacked. There's no 10 yet, so at this point he could still fall, but Snitch wants a kill. He goes in, and he takes down Link, who's a bit too far out. JPL still survives. Tyrael is the second death on the side of the Leftovers, and you can already tell that it is going to be another tough match for the Leftovers. 6 kills against 0, 10 versus 8 in levels. Bunker now, of course, opening up some additional avenues of saving heroes in those fights later on, despite the lack of a burst heal support. So Dignitas is starting to look very, very scary.
That they are. And I like how they didn't immediately turn around and grab the boss after getting 2 kills. It had just spawned. Knowing that they don't have sustain, they don't really need to move into that area. That's the one spot the Leftovers can get a couple resets with Li Ming and come back in the game. Instead, they turn their attention to the bottom. Being able to open the turret walls and the fort opens up more opportunities for them to get kills, and they secure one. They get Li Ming, and with the temple spawning soon, killing this fort is instrumental.
Link is also falling. The level 10 is there, and Dignitas uses it by simply jumping behind the fort. They have 0 respect at this moment, since they know that they have their heroics already, and the Leftovers, they are just sitting there and taking a beating. They need another half level until they have heroic abilities, and in the meantime, they're just going to be chased across the map.
Another kill. Team Dignitas is on a steamroll here. And it's not like Hanzo is insanely out of position. I'd rather him be a little bit closer to that fort, but they are being killed underneath their forts. They just have no defense with 3 members jumping in with an avatar hat. Hanzo had no chance to survive there.
Yeah, it was the kills in the early game that now start the snowball. And after 10, there might be a chance for Leftovers to make a few plays here, especially around their own Ancestral, of course. But so far, they find themselves way too far behind in experience. Snitch is low, and he goes down. Li Ming falls as well, though, because Zelia has the copy here on Zeratul as they are moving in. But if at some point they can go... That's a
Dragon Strike.
Yeah, that's a Dragon Strike. If at some point, and Bloodlust, if at some point they are in a situation where they can put Li Ming into a spot where she can get reset, maybe. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, by the way, for Leftovers. First of all, we have Bloodlust. Second of all, we have Dragon Strike. And also, we're having an AWP build for Li Ming.
Well, both teams have decided to party in this game here, as we actually have the party in the middle, around the boss. Lava controlling it where he can't. Bloodlust has come on in. Bunker being used. Arthas, though, gets picked off, while Team Dignitas uses the shelter of the bunker to stay alive.
Party boss is down. He did not get a sanctification off in this fight. 13 versus 10. 12 kills against 1. Dignitas is just partying here. Hanzo is also dead. Yeah, we are not even 8 minutes in and we've seen 13 kills on Dignitas' side.
And Li Ming might be a 14th. She's down here.
Might be.
Yeah, she's kind of pinned down. Can she get the Hearthstone? Nope. JPL moves in, gets the engage. DAB drops spray paint, dancing around, but eventually falls, barely winning that fight.
He got this payoff, so it's already worth it.
That's all that matters. Temple will be up soon, 2 of them. But Dignitas turns their attention to the bottom. They have Hoik and Wubby working on the turrets, moving in for keeps at 8 minutes in the game.
Yeah, it's again what we said during draft, what we said at the start of the game. Dignitas needed a snowball. That's what they did. Pressure early, use the advantage. The trade-off that you make is you give up sustained fights, you give up poke fights, but you have more damage. You can go for quick and decisive kills, and you need to get a win early on, and that's what they're doing. They're getting a kill against Arthas, they get a kill against Tyrael. Both of them are down, and they're just simply going for the core at this point. Dignitas is absolutely unstoppable here. They played this perfectly. Mana Mule comes down. StarCraft fans can appreciate it. Not sure if Leftovers do. They go down as Dignitas claims the series with a 3-0.
3-0, and overall in this phase, Dignitas is now 12-0, undefeated with a 4-0 record, #1 in the standings, and continuing to strive forward, showing off how to play a composition without a support.
And Leftovers are 0-12. Haven't won a single map yet.
That hurts. That really does. Leftovers will hopefully learn more from this series. Again, they had a rough road, some really difficult matches the first couple of weeks, so we hope to see and we expect a couple of victories the next couple of weeks as we continue to move through the HGC. But it's starting to look more and more like the Leftovers will not be attending the Western Clash, as they are at the #8 spot in the standings.
I think it's pretty safe to say
It's
that
pretty
they're not
safe to
going to
say
go
that.
to the